So hi everyone, today in this video we're gonna develop another mental model that can be useful for you since mental models are representations about how the reality works. And as much more you grasp them, higher is the probability of you getting better in decision making, which I think it's ultimately the most important skill that you need to develop to become a better type of person in terms of likelihood to get prosperity. Because what is prosperity? Prosperity kind of requires you to take the best decisions as possible, depending obviously of the environment that you are present. That's gonna define what's called be we're safe and create a good feedback loop for you. But then for that you need to require have knowledge, so understanding about patterns that the world has, that makes you have a higher probability to predict how the world's gonna work, and then obviously good ability to make this interpretation to retain the data that you work in, so you kind of make a mix of new data that you got with some principles, beliefs that you have. And then some of the models, they work like that. Some of them are systems that you systematically can adopt to solve problems, like the bulletproof problem solving. Other ones are specific models that we take from economics, from psychology, so that we can take as well from thinking. So we can take from every field of study. And then what's going to be the pattern today is economic type of mental model called Dutch disease. So how resource wealth can cripple an economy. So what's like the core idea of this video? So the Dutch disease describes how a sudden boom in natural resources like oil, gas, minerals can weaken other sectors of the economy, leading to a long-term decline. This was named after the Netherlands in the 70s gas boom, which hollowed out its manufacturing sector. This paradox explains why countries like Venezuela and Nigeria grew poorer despite vast oil wealth. So how it works, how we're gonna develop this mental model, understand what are the components that obviously in union they form this mental model. So we have the resource windfall. A country discovers available resources. So the first step, we can give like example oil, and exports it massively. So foreign currency flows in, making the local currency appreciate. So if I selling something, obviously, I'm selling in my currency in my country, and obviously, people that want to buy the thing, they will have to get my currency to buy. And when the search for something increases, the price of that something obviously tends to increase, and then the currency appreciates. Two, we have a sector implosion. Exporters suffer. A stronger currency makes no resources exports like farming, manufacturing, so other sectors of economy than just like the natural resources that I have discovered, like a oil. So a stronger currency makes no resource export uncompetitive globally, because we tend to look for things that are cheaper as possible. If my currency appreciate because I'm selling a lot of a specific resource that I'm particularly rich, make the currency stronger. And what means strong currency stronger is that the transition from one coin to the my one that's becoming stronger, it will result in less type of currency in terms of quantities, making the transition, and then they can buy less. And if one specific budget over time I can buy less, this means that this thing is getting expensive over the time, which if that happens, I obviously, if I'm a rational type of consumer, I will always trying to become efficient. And to be efficient, I'm looking for better allocation, better relations of benefits and costs. And then I will probably look for other economies that provide the same type of thing at lower costs, because their currency is much weaker than mine. And then the exportations, they tend to suffer. Other sectors of economy, it's become so much worse, difficult for them to have to be competitive globally, because the currency has like an increase in their value. So With that, the local industry dies. Cheap imports replace domestic goods. Why make cares if oil dollars let you buy foreign ones? It's something that's as logical, as reasoning over there. So the 3 point is the brain drain and dependency. Talent and investment flee to the resource sector, and the economy becomes a one-trick pony, vulnerable to crashes. As example, the oil glut. So, an economy. So, with that increase in currency, making buy so the high search for a specific thing that I'm rich, it makes the economy so becomes relying that specific sector because the other ones are not competitive. They're not so like competition with the other type of the rivals that they have, and then so the economy starts just having so a sector being the one that they're kind of bad, and this creates inefficiency because obviously I create so much people with so much skills that obviously they are not all good for that, and then so I have a lot of people that could develop other type of sectors, but they're not able because our economy just provides so ability to work in one of them. And then so obviously it creates a brain drain and a dependency such as for one of the sector. And obviously if I'm just relying in thing, I'm just making investment in one specific type of sector. It's like active. If I find a bet in active, I'm not diversified. And if I'm not diversified, I'm being inefficient because I'm facing more risk by each unity of type of improvement in my capital over time that I can expect. I'm suffering with more risk because obviously exists a specific type of cost that I must more exposed if in comparison I have a more type of diversified economy. So we have real world examples. We have in Venezuela in the initial of this century, oil revenues funded populist spending but killed agriculture and manufacturing. When oil prices crashed, the economy collapsed because when the oil prices crashed, it means that probably we're in a phase that people are not so looking that much for oil. And then so if I rely a lot in that specific sector, if the prices goes down, means that I'm creating less revenue, the economy so goes to a collapse. We have the Australia in the 10s, a mining booms pick the Australian dollar, hurting tourism and education exports. We have the Nigeria, oil accounts for 90% of export earnings. Neglected sectors like cocoa farming collapsed, leaving millions jobless. We have the Saudi Arabia. Oil wealth stifled the diversification. Now the kingdom races to build tax hubs like NEOM before oil demands fades. So I think it's clear why it matters. Short-term gain, long-term pain. Resource wealth feels like winning the lottery until it traps economies in dependency. Global inequality, rich nations buy resources cheaply while producer nations stagnate. Climate pressures, oil coal dependent economies face existential risks as the world transitions to renewables. So example, and it's like the best example is oil. People that have a lot, countries that have a lot of this resource oil, they tend to suffer with this type of Dutch disease, and also they kind of are. It's much more difficult to so make a transition to renewable type of sources of energy if exist economies that rely 100% in these type of sectors. So what could be solutions now that we have understood this problem in our economy? So what are and what can develop so to face it? So first, sovereign wealth funds. So sovereign wealth funds, how it works. Save resource windfalls like Norway's 1.4 trillion oil fund to stabilize currency and fund future diversification. Invest in diversification yearly. Use resources profits to build infrastructure, education, and tech oops before the bust. So work towards being efficient as possible so to beat this type of tendency of your currency becomes stronger and stronger by you having a lot of some specific resource. Tax and stabilize. Tax resource exports to curb currency appreciation and protect local industries. and avoid overheating. So limit foreign buying during booms to prevent debt crisis when prices fall. A lot important is probably you getting specialized in the process that is managing your country. So fiscal policies and things like that. So I expect these videos make you gain insights. I expect this was enough you to make you gain this type of new knowledges. I expect this was enough so as well to make you subscribe and like the video and see other ones if you may get interested on. So I expect this video so as may kind of generate interesting on you, and thank you, and obviously so see you in the next one.